Have you ever wondered why certain challenges keep appearing in your life, no matter how hard you try to avoid them? The truth is, every difficulty, every moment of confusion is a training session for your mind. Imagine your mind as a garden. Each thought you think is a seed. Some seeds are meant to grow into trees of wisdom and strength, while others, if left unchecked, become weeds that choke your growth. God is the gardener. He watches over this garden carefully, removing some weeds and encouraging some seeds to grow, even when you don't understand why it's happening. When life hurts, when doors close, or when you feel overwhelmed, it's not punishment, it's preparation. God allows discomfort and pain to enter your life to teach your mind resilience. The challenges you face today are the sunlight and the rain that strengthen your mental roots. If you avoid struggle, you avoid growth. If you shy away from pain, you miss the lesson embedded within it. The mind needs training, just like a muscle in the body. And this training is not about temporary comfort. It is about building permanent strength and clarity. Discipline is the bridge between your potential and your reality. You may have dreams that feel too big, goals that seem impossible, but without mental discipline, these dreams remain just dreams. God is teaching you to focus, to resist distractions, and to hold your thoughts captive instead of letting them control you. Each small decision, what you think about, what you focus on, how you respond, either strengthens this bridge or weakens it. The training is consistent and it requires patience, but the results are undeniable. Perspective is another crucial part of this training. God is shaping the way you see the world. What may feel like failure today might be the foundation of your success tomorrow. What may feel like rejection could be redirection. The mind, when properly trained, sees beyond the immediate and recognizes opportunities, even in adversity. It understands that every setback carries a hidden lesson, and every delay is an invitation to grow stronger and wiser. Habits are the silent architects of your character. Every repeated thought becomes a habit. Every habit forms the architecture of your identity. God's training aims to ensure that your inner architecture is strong, resilient, and capable of supporting the life you are meant to live. That is why mental training often feels repetitive, even frustrating. It is God sculpting the foundation of your future. The little, unseen moments matter more than you realize. Finally, faith is not passive. It is active. Training your mind requires trust. You may not see the full picture, and some lessons may feel harsh or confusing, but choosing to cooperate with this training is what prepares you for greatness. Faith is your participation in God's mental training program. Each time you resist negativity, each time you choose focus over distraction, you are stepping into the person you were meant to become. Remember this: the mind is being trained, even when you feel lost. God is at work, shaping, guiding, and preparing you. The garden of your mind will bloom, but only if you nurture it with patience, discipline, and trust. Every challenge is intentional. Every difficulty is educational. And every day, even January 28, is an opportunity to grow stronger, think sharper, and become the person you are meant to be. The mind is a garden, and like any garden, it requires attention, care, and cultivation. Every thought that passes through your mind is a seed, and what you plant determines what will grow. Positive, constructive thoughts are like seeds of strong, fruitful trees, capable of providing shade, nourishment, and beauty. Negative, destructive thoughts are like weeds, spreading silently, choking out the potential of the seeds you actually want to grow. The problem is, most people fail to recognize that their mental garden requires deliberate maintenance. They allow random thoughts, fears, and doubts to take root without realizing that these small, seemingly harmless seeds can grow into massive, unmanageable plants that dominate the mind. God, as the gardener of your mind, watches carefully over this internal landscape. He knows which seeds have the potential to grow into strength, wisdom, and resilience, and which seeds will ultimately hinder your progress. Sometimes, the process of cultivation feels harsh, uncomfortable, or even unfair. But every intervention has a purpose. Pulling out a weed or pruning a branch may seem painful in the moment, yet it ensures that the stronger, more productive parts of your mind have the space, energy, and nourishment to flourish. Growth in the mental garden does not happen overnight. Just as a tree takes years to grow strong and bear fruit, the training of your mind takes consistent effort and time. God introduces experiences, challenges, and even obstacles as a way to test and nurture the seeds within you. Sometimes the soil of your mind feels dry, and the challenges you face are like harsh weather or drought, making it seem impossible for anything to grow. Yet it is in these moments that the seeds of resilience, focus, and faith are being strengthened. Without the stress of pressure or the pruning of difficulty, your mind cannot fully develop the depth and strength it needs to withstand the storms of life. It is through these deliberate experiences that your thoughts are refined, your focus is sharpened, and your character begins to take root in ways that are invisible but deeply transformational. Every challenge is a lesson, and every lesson is a nutrient that feeds the seeds planted in your mind. We often fail to recognize the subtle ways in which our mental garden is being cultivated. God's training is not always obvious, and it is rarely immediate. Sometimes He allows you to struggle with doubt, fear, or indecision so that you learn to take responsibility for your thoughts. He may bring people, situations, or setbacks into your life, not to harm you, but to help you identify which thoughts are strong enough to survive and which are weak enough to be replaced. The mind is naturally prone to distraction and chaos, and without intentional cultivation, it will gravitate toward negativity and confusion. This is why discipline, focus, and self-awareness are essential components of mental training. God encourages you to pay attention to what you allow to grow in your mind, to recognize the thoughts that are serving you and those that are sabotaging you, and to actively choose which seeds deserve your energy. The act of nurturing good thoughts and removing harmful ones is not passive. It requires conscious effort, observation, and trust in the process, even when it feels uncomfortable or counterintuitive. Another important aspect of the mental garden is the understanding that growth is interconnected. Just as a healthy tree depends on rich soil, sunlight, and water, your mental growth depends on the quality of the experiences you allow into your life, the people you interact with, and the focus you give to your thoughts. God trains your mind to recognize that nothing grows in isolation. A single negative thought left unchecked can spread and affect your mood, your decisions, and your relationships, just as a single invasive weed can overtake an entire garden if ignored. Conversely, nurturing even one small positive thought can lead to a cascade of mental growth, resulting in clarity, courage, and resilience. The key is awareness. You must become vigilant about what is being planted, what is being watered, and what is being allowed to take over. God's role as the gardener is to guide you in this process, to provide the lessons and experiences that help you identify which thoughts to cultivate and which to eliminate, ensuring that your mind grows in a balanced and fruitful way. Understanding that your mind is a garden transforms the way you approach life. You begin to see that every experience, every challenge, and every interaction is part of the cultivation process. Even moments of doubt or fear are not wasted. They are nutrients for growth if you respond correctly. God is training you not only to think clearly, but to think wisely, strategically, and with purpose. When you adopt the mindset that your thoughts are seeds and your mind is a garden under careful cultivation, you take responsibility for the quality of your internal world. You begin to nurture thoughts that lead to peace, strength, and success, while uprooting those that lead to anxiety, negativity, and stagnation. In this way, your mental garden becomes a source of power, creativity, and resilience, and you become fully aware that every thought you entertain has the potential to shape the life you are cultivating for yourself. Pain and discomfort are not random occurrences in life. They are deliberate lessons designed to train your mind and shape your character. Often, when we encounter challenges, our first instinct is to resist, to avoid, or to ask, "Why me?" But the truth is that life's difficulties are intentional moments of teaching. They are opportunities for your mind to grow stronger, for your focus to sharpen, and for your perspective to expand. Just as muscles strengthen when subjected to tension, your mind develops resilience when exposed to struggle. The discomfort you feel is not a sign of failure, it is a sign that growth is happening. Every setback, every disappointment, and every moment of confusion carries within it a hidden lesson. God allows these moments not to harm you, but to awaken your potential, to stretch your capacity, and to teach you truths that comfort and ease alone could never convey. When we face pain, it forces us to pause, reflect, and examine the patterns of our thinking. Without discomfort, we rarely question our habits, our choices, or our mindset. Pain demands attention. It shines a light on areas where we have become complacent or where our assumptions have gone unchallenged. It exposes the weaknesses that we might otherwise ignore, giving us a chance to address them before they become insurmountable obstacles. This is why discomfort is an essential component of mental training. It is a wake-up call to realign our thoughts, to strengthen our focus, and to develop the endurance necessary to handle greater responsibilities in the future. Those who avoid pain or seek constant comfort may never develop the depth of understanding or resilience required to achieve lasting success. Every form of difficulty has a lesson tailored specifically for your growth. Financial setbacks teach prudence, strategic thinking, and resourcefulness. Failures in relationships teach empathy, communication, and self-awareness. Personal disappointments teach patience, humility, and perseverance. The mind, when trained through these experiences, becomes sharper and more adaptable. It learns not only to survive challenges, but to transform them into opportunities. What feels like a moment of defeat can become the very catalyst that propels you forward, provided you approach it with awareness and a willingness to learn. God's method of training the mind often involves discomfort precisely because it demands active engagement. Passive observation rarely leads to growth. True learning occurs when your mind is stretched, challenged, and compelled to adapt. Pain also teaches the mind to develop perspective. When life is smooth and easy, it is tempting to view situations with narrow thinking, focusing only on immediate gratification or surface-level outcomes. Discomfort, however, it forces a deeper examination. It teaches patience, encourages reflection, and promotes long-term thinking. When you encounter obstacles, your mind is pushed to seek solutions, to reconsider strategies, and to prioritize what truly matters. Over time, these lessons accumulate, building mental fortitude and wisdom. The mind trained through adversity becomes capable of navigating uncertainty with calm and clarity, seeing beyond temporary difficulties to recognize the opportunities and lessons hidden within them. Another important aspect of discomfort is its ability to teach emotional control. Pain triggers fear, frustration, and anxiety, and these emotions can easily overwhelm an untrained mind. By facing discomfort head-on, you learn to observe your emotions without being controlled by them. You develop the capacity to respond rationally rather than react impulsively. This self-mastery is essential for long-term success and inner peace. The mind learns that while pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Suffering comes from resisting the lesson, from dwelling on what is unpleasant, rather than embracing it as a tool for growth. God's training challenges you to move through the discomfort with courage, learning not to avoid the lesson, but to integrate it fully into your understanding. Finally, pain and discomfort teach gratitude and resilience. When you experience hardship and emerge stronger, your appreciation for growth, joy, and success deepens. You begin to recognize the value of each lesson and the ways in which it shapes your future. The mind trained through difficulty does not take comfort or ease for granted. It understands that growth is earned, that strength is forged in the fire of challenges, and that every moment of discomfort is a stepping stone to greater wisdom, clarity, and capability. Through this process, you develop an inner confidence that no external circumstance can shake. You learn that you are capable of more than you ever imagined, and that the obstacles you face are not barriers, but invitations to expand your mind, elevate your perspective, and cultivate the strength necessary to live a purposeful and empowered life. Discipline is the invisible bridge that connects the dreams in your mind to the reality of your life. Potential alone, no matter how vast or extraordinary, remains unrealized unless it is accompanied by consistent effort, self-control, and intentional focus. Many people believe that talent, intelligence, or opportunity are enough to guarantee success. But without discipline, even the greatest potential fades into mediocrity. Discipline is what allows the mind to transform abstract ideas into tangible results. It is the daily commitment to training your thoughts, prioritizing your actions, and resisting the temptations that seek to divert you from your path. Without it, the mind drifts, and the opportunities presented by God's guidance are wasted, leaving potential unfulfilled and dreams unmanifested. Discipline is not merely about restriction or rigid control. It is about alignment with purpose. It is the conscious decision to choose actions that serve long-term growth over short-term comfort. The human mind naturally gravitates toward ease, distraction, and immediate gratification, and it is discipline that interrupts these patterns. When you exercise mental discipline, you train yourself to focus on the things that matter most, to resist negative or unproductive thoughts, and to develop habits that reinforce your goals. Each moment of resistance, each choice to remain committed despite difficulty, strengthens the bridge between your potential and your reality. In this way, Discipline is both the structure and the support system for personal transformation. Without it, the mind remains untamed and potential remains dormant, a hidden treasure buried beneath the weight of indecision and inaction. One of the most critical aspects of discipline is consistency. Success is rarely the result of a single moment of brilliance or a sudden breakthrough. It is the accumulation of repeated, deliberate actions over time. Daily practice, repeated focus, and persistent effort are the pillars that uphold the bridge between what you could become and what you actually achieve. God trains your mind through routines, challenges, and repetition, creating the conditions where discipline becomes a habit rather than a struggle. Each time you choose to persist in the face of distraction, to stay committed when motivation fades, or to adhere to a principle despite temptation, you strengthen the neural pathways that support focused thinking, resilience, and self-mastery. Discipline transforms potential from a vague possibility into a tangible, achievable reality. Another vital dimension of discipline is its role in shaping character. The bridge between potential and reality is not merely about accomplishing tasks. It is about becoming the person capable of sustaining success. Discipline teaches patience, humility, and perseverance. It trains the mind to endure temporary discomfort, to prioritize long-term goals over short-term satisfaction, and to remain steadfast even when progress seems slow. Each act of self-control and deliberate effort is a reinforcement of mental strength. The mind becomes more resilient, capable of navigating setbacks without giving in to frustration or despair. This is why the most successful individuals are often those who exhibit extraordinary discipline. Their achievements are reflections not only of their talent, but of their ability to consistently align actions with purpose. Discipline also cultivates clarity and focus. In a world filled with constant noise, distraction, and competing priorities, the disciplined mind learns to recognize what truly matters and to allocate energy accordingly. God's training often places obstacles in your path to test this focus. Without discipline, it is easy to be swayed by the allure of easy solutions, the opinions of others, or the temptation to abandon long-term goals in favor of immediate pleasure. Discipline allows the mind to see beyond temporary difficulties, to maintain perspective, and to continue working steadily toward meaningful objectives. It is the bridge that connects aspiration to achievement, vision to execution, and desire to fulfillment. Discipline is an active partnership between your mind and God's training. Potential is the seed, but discipline is the cultivation that ensures it grows. The daily commitment to train your thoughts, manage your habits, and remain consistent in pursuit of purpose creates the pathway from what is possible to what is real. Without discipline, potential remains a dream deferred, while with it, even the most challenging goals become attainable. The bridge is built one choice at a time, one action at a time, one disciplined thought at a time. It is through this consistent effort that your mind becomes aligned with your purpose. Your potential is realized, and the life you are meant to live unfolds with clarity, strength, and fulfillment. Your perspective is not fixed. It is constantly being refined, shaped, and expanded by the experiences, challenges, and lessons that life places before you. Every situation you encounter, whether it feels positive or negative, carries the potential to change the way you see the world. God trains your mind to develop clarity and wisdom by presenting circumstances that challenge your assumptions, test your patience, and stretch your understanding. Often, what you perceive at first as a setback or a difficulty is actually an opportunity to refine your outlook, to learn a new way of thinking, and to adjust your approach to life. The mind that refuses to be shaped by experience becomes rigid and limited, while the mind open to refinement grows in depth, insight, and discernment. This process of refining perspective is intentional, deliberate, and essential to the journey of personal growth. Challenges are the tools that facilitate this refinement. When you face disappointment, rejection, or failure, your initial reaction may be frustration, anger, or despair. Yet these are precisely the moments in which perspective is being shaped. God uses these experiences to teach you to look beyond the surface, to see opportunities in difficulties, and to recognize the lessons hidden within what initially feels painful. A problem that seems insurmountable today may, in time, become the source of your greatest strength or the foundation of a breakthrough. The refined mind does not dwell on setbacks. It examines them, learns from them, and uses them as stepping stones toward greater understanding. Each challenge is a mirror, reflecting back areas where growth is needed and offering guidance on how to approach life with wisdom and resilience. Perspective is also refined through observation and reflection. Life is full of distractions, noise, and competing narratives, and without careful attention, the mind can adopt a narrow or distorted view of reality. God trains your mind to see clearly by encouraging reflection on your experiences, your choices, and the outcomes of your actions. Through reflection, you begin to recognize patterns, identify causes and effects, and understand the subtle connections between effort, decision-making, and results. This clarity allows you to make more informed decisions, to act with intention, and to avoid repeating mistakes. The process of refining perspective requires honesty, self-awareness, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. It is in these moments of honest reflection that the mind gains insight, expands understanding, and develops the ability to approach life with balance and discernment. Another critical aspect of perspective refinement is the shift from reactive thinking to proactive understanding. The unrefined mind reacts impulsively to circumstances, often based on emotion or limited information. It interprets events as either wholly positive or entirely negative, without considering the nuances and opportunities contained within them. The mind under God's training learns to pause, to analyze, and to perceive situations from multiple angles. It recognizes that apparent setbacks may be strategic redirections, that delays may be lessons in patience, and that failures often contain invaluable guidance for future success. This refined perspective transforms challenges into lessons, obstacles into opportunities, and confusion into clarity. It empowers you to respond rather than react, to navigate life with intention rather than instinct, and to extract meaning from every experience, no matter how difficult. The refinement of perspective also fosters empathy and understanding toward others. As your mind develops the ability to see beyond immediate appearances and to consider broader contexts, you become more capable of understanding the motivations, struggles, and perspectives of those around you. God's training shapes your mind to recognize that your experience is not the only reality, and that wisdom often lies in appreciating multiple viewpoints. This capacity for empathy strengthens relationships, enhances communication, and allows you to approach conflicts or challenges with compassion and insight rather than judgment or frustration. The refined mind is not only capable of seeing clearly for itself, but also contributes positively to the clarity and growth of others. The refinement of perspective is an ongoing process, one that never truly ends. Life continues to present new experiences, challenges, and lessons that test and expand your understanding. God's training works continuously to elevate your mental capacity, teaching you to see beyond immediate appearances, to recognize hidden opportunities, and to cultivate wisdom that endures beyond circumstances. A mind with refined perspective is capable of navigating complexity with confidence, responding to adversity with composure, and making decisions that reflect both insight and foresight. As your perspective is refined, you gain the ability to approach life with a sense of purpose, clarity, and balance, understanding that every experience, every challenge, and every lesson is a deliberate part of the training designed to shape your mind into its highest potential.